Same observing. Fabio, what you observe with the pin risk? So we were speaking about this, I think, when we're talking about the levels, I think for a few weeks, and it's also an academy. But when it comes to pin risk or risk, of course, we was not backtesting this. What you observing, Fabio, in this case?
So I think you always have to combine it with the charts. So always look at the bar, how wide the bar are, and also how, for example, big is the expiration. So we see a lot of pin risk coming close to big expiration like OPEX. So during those times, the third Friday of the month, that becomes like some of these levels become very sticky. So you see a lot of like activity in and out the level, right? Because of the hedging activity. I also see what I witnessed, and again, it's not backtested as well, is I see that every time we have a strong break of the 1-day max and you have another level way above. So if you add the core resistance way above that, it tends to get to that level and retrace. So we see a strong move above that. And we also, one of the things that we witness a lot is obviously the move that you trade, Patrick, is the break of the high vol level. We see a lot of volatility once you cross above and below that level. So like we see a lot of movement. Yeah. And also another one, when you cross the put support, like you show it there, this is a very strong momentum to the downside. So if you have, for example, put support level with not really other like important level below that, then sometimes you see like a very strong downside move if you break that.
But maybe we should clarify this again, Fabio. I think if you prepare for this, or maybe you can speak about this. So what has happened when we going above call resistance on the view of the market maker, and if we go above the put support? So what is most of the times the reaction? So that people are getting an idea who listen the first time, maybe for us when we're speaking about the levels.
Sure, let me share my screen 1 second.
And it's so hard, Barry. Every time when I'm watching your screen, I have a trade idea in my mind, but I will promise myself I will not take a trade when I be in the live stream now. So it's so hard. I see this how it goes up. I was saying.
All right. So let's take an example on Tesla, for example. Right. So if we look at Tesla, we still have a core resistance at 500, right? So even though the price has kind of dropped a little bit in the last few weeks, there is still a lot of option activity at the 500 level. There's still a lot of positions that are open, and you can also see it on the multi-expiration. So you see that basically this level is quite strong right there, right here, and then here we have 480, and here we have 500. So in the June expiration, we have this 500 level as well. So think about right now, the price of Tesla is at 398, so $400. So those options that you see right here are right now out of the money, right? So the delta of those options is quite small. So therefore, the hedging activity of market makers for these 500 strikes is lower than it was a few weeks ago. And think about as an investor, so if you, Barry or Patrick, if you are buying those call options right now, you are out of the money. So you are hoping that the price will get to 500 before your expiration to potentially make profit. If the price approaches this level, then from an investor standpoint, your options start becoming more and more kind of like in the money, and you start making profit. And when it touches the 500 level, if you are holding that strike, then you might not take the chance of hoping that the price goes above, because it could go above and obviously you would make more money, but you could also bounce back. So as an investor, you might start closing those positions, and therefore you're starting to release the need of hedging for those positions. And therefore, that's why the core resistance becomes a very big point, because as more investors might close their position, then the market maker doesn't need to hedge anymore, and therefore kind of goes in the opposite direction. So therefore, the price kind of like bounces back. But it could also happen that, let's say, for example, that in this case, Tesla has really great earnings and really strong momentum, and everybody believes that the price could reach 600, then that core resistance could trigger an inflection point, so a stronger momentum to the upside. So that's why kind of like we call it resistance, because it's resistance from the options data. So it's obviously what could happen if the price approaches that level, but it could also become similar to what you do in technical analysis. The way when you break resistance, it could become then obviously a stronger support because you see an inflection point. So I don't know if that clarifies the question, Patrick.
Yeah, perfect.